All right, here is Try It 3.1 from OpenStax PreCalculus. In this problem, we're asked to express the square root of negative 24 in standard form. Okay, so first of all, what is standard form? Standard form is when you write a number as a plus bi for some real numbers a and b. So you got the square root of negative 24. The trick with this one is maybe first recognizing that negative 24 is negative 1 times positive 24. And the reason that's helpful is we define the square root of negative 1 to be equal to I. So really what I have is the square root of negative 24 equals the square root of 24i. So I suppose at this point you could say, okay, this is 0 plus the square root of 24 times I. Right? It seems to fit the criteria. A equals 0, B equals the square root of 24. And that's all fine, except that typically you don't leave your answers as the square root of 24 because the square root of 24 can be simplified. So while this is a correct answer, I would say it's not the correct answer. What I would instead do is I would, maybe in green here, say I got the square root of negative 24, which again equals some square root times the square root of negative 1. But this time, instead of just saying it's the square root of 24 times the square root of negative 1, I'm going to break it up as the square root of 4 times the square root of 6 times negative 1. And the reason I'm going to do that is the square root of 4 is just equal to 2. So I can say it's 2 root 6 I. 2 root 6 is the same as the square root of 24. However, 2 root 6 is generally considered the more simplified form. So what I think would be the best possible answer would be the square root of negative 24 is 0 plus 2 root 6 I when expressed in standard form. The value of a here is 0. The value of b is 2 times the square root of 6, which is just some number. Note that the I here is not underneath the radical. I got it outside from the radical by taking the square root of negative 1. The square root of negative 1, this entire thing is the I, so it's not under the radical anymore.